working at Gallery 7, Ken.
Of course you do. That's why you keep coming back, right?
I think this might be my 6th show.
I think so. It's getting up there.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ken Hildebrand, Executive Artistic Director of Gallery 7 Theatre, and with me today is director Kate Muchmore Woo. She is directing our next production of Murder on the Orient Express. This is a brand new adaptation by Ken Ludwig, based on the Agatha Christie classic story. Kate, welcome.
Thank you.
So, Kate, I got to start by asking you, what inspired you to get into directing in the first place?
Okay. Well, I went back to. I have a degree in theater, a bachelor's degree, and I had studied stage managing. And then I just kind of went and did theater for a few years, and then after a few years, I went back to graduate school, thinking I was going to be maybe a high school drama teacher or something, and I started directing while I was in graduate school, and fell in love with directing and with college students, and then didn't end up becoming a drama teacher. Ended up becoming a professor in university settings. So that's how I got into directing. Was just kind of fell into it.
So people could go one of many different directions, from directing videos to directing film, but you chose to direct for the stage. What is it about the stage that really attracts you?
Well, there's something about creating a whole new world that is alive in front of an audience, and so it's a really complex puzzle that has to be put together, and there's so many moving pieces that have to be thought about. So there's something I just really love about working with the costumer and the set designer and the lighting designer and the sound and the makeup and the actors, and trying to find a way to make it all become unified and come together into a cohesive world that works together just to tell a really engaging story to an audience, and to do that in a live way, in a 3D way. It's kind of like, you're kind of like painting with light and people and sound and all these things, and putting it together is just really, really cool, and I really love doing that. So it's just the act of putting it all together in a way that makes sense. It's really cool.
Cool. Now, you've directed a number of shows here at Gallery 7 Theatre. This is actually your second Agatha Christie play that you're directing for us. The first one being The Mousetrap. Do you want to tell us just a little bit, of course, without spoiling it, tell us a little bit about the premise for Murder on the Orient Express?
Yeah, how to not spoil it? Okay, so it's about a very diverse group of people who are all very different, who get on this train to take a journey from Istanbul to London, and along the way there's a snowstorm, and the train gets stuck, and someone gets murdered, and Hercule Poirot is there, and of course we must find out who is the murderer. So that's the premise of the show. Right.
One of the things that intrigued me about this particular show is not only because everyone just loves a good murder mystery, trying to figure it out as the play goes on, but also kind of explores some really interesting themes as well about justice. Is there something in the show that really stands out to you beyond the suspense and sort of that fun superficial stuff?
Well, no, definitely that theme of justice is really, really prevalent in this particular Agatha Christie story. It's that whole question of what is justice, and what is the right kind of justice, and what is moral justice, in a really complicated circumstance. And so that's a question that I hope the audience walks out considering. Is was justice done in this play? What would I have done in these circumstances? Would I have done what what everyone in the show did? So it's that idea of how do you bring a murderer to justice, and what is the right kind of justice, you know?
Yeah, I'm kind of smiling because it's so hard to talk about some of the themes of the play without delving into some of the details of it. And of course, you don't want to reveal all those details, but you did such a really great job, actually, of just dealing with some of the content in the show and what people can expect to sort of be encouraged to think about as they're trying to solve the mystery. Now, I know that you've directed musicals, you've directed Shakespeare, you've directed murder mysteries. Can you tell me a little bit about your approach? Because every play pretty much requires a different approach to directing. What's your approach to directing a murder mystery and more specifically a show like Murder on the Orient Express?
I guess how do you keep the audience guessing, and how do you keep them on their toes, and how do you keep them constantly suspecting someone new at every turn? And so for that reason, it's important that you work with the actors to know like all of their own context and their own backstories and all of their own motivations for every single moment, and then helping them not to give away things at key moments, and so that they all have their moments in the show when they get to be look a little guilty, but so that it's constantly kind of switching it up without making it obvious to the audience what's going on. So I think and that's a certain approach. You have to kind of walk that line of who do you want to be paying, who do you want the audience to be paying attention to at any given moment, and making sure that their eyes are going where they need to go. So
cool. And of course that places a lot of pressure on the actors as well, because you don't want to just play one note. You want to be playing the characters' intentions, even though the audience may not know why exactly they're acting the way that they are.
Yeah, and it's very subtle, So it's like the actors need to know what's going on with them, even when they're in the background, or what they think about what other characters are talking about from moment to moment, because all those little subtleties and things going on only add that much life to the scene, and help to bring a depth to it that again keeps the audience kind of guessing.
For sure. Yeah. So speaking of the actors, what's it like working with this cast?
Oh, this cast is really fun. There's a lot of really experienced actors and who come at this with having done several shows before and kind of know how to approach a character and how to find motivations and objectives and all the things I like to talk about. And then there's a bunch of brand new people to acting that are in the cast, and so that mix has been really fun to work with as we learn kind of the ropes of acting and see where their strengths and their strengths are, because they're a lot of them they're cast, so they have strengths and they have things that they're instinctively really good at. So it's capitalizing on the things they're already good at, and then helping them to understand the theories and acting and all of that can undergird the strengths they already have. So being able to kind of work with both groups and bring them to an equal playing field is really cool.
Yeah, cool. Very cool. Might sound like a self-serving kind of question, but a question I'm always curious about. But what do you enjoy most about working at Gallery 7?
Oh, I love working at Gallery 7, Karen.
Of course you do. That's why you keep coming back, right?
I think this might be my 6th show.
I think so. It's getting up there.
Yeah. No, I really do. I really do love working with you all. Gallery 7 is a really supportive production structure. I love the support that I get from the production team, from Charlene and Andrew, and always get really strong designers and people who have come with a wealth of ideas and knowledge and experience, and even and sometimes brand new designers who just want to try things out and who are willing to learn. And there's strengths in scheduling and strengths in deadlines and things that get all of that just makes the director's job much easier, because I know all those things that in the background that need to be happening I don't have to be worrying about or thinking about, and so that makes it such a joy to work with you all. Yeah.
Very cool. So what do you hope audiences will take away from this production? Why should they come?
Well, come if you love murder mysteries. Come if you just like a really, really good story. Because this, if you've never seen Murder on the Orient Express or seen the movie or seen a stage version, this is a complicated one to figure out. Poirot says at the beginning of the show, this is the most complicated case of my career. And so this is, it's a really great story. So come for that. But also, come to, it's like I said, I hope that people walk away thinking about like, what would I have done? Like, what would I do? What's the justice?
Yeah. Interesting. Well, thanks very much, Kate, for taking time out of your schedule to visit with us.
Sure.
Talking with Kate Muchmore Woo, the director of our production of Murder on the Orient Express by Ken Ludwig, based on the Agatha Christie story. It's running January 27th to February 4th at the Abbotsford Arts Centre. You can get full details and order tickets at www.gallery7theatre.com.